Hello and welcome to Peak Streaks, the podcast where we answer the question, what is the greatest 3-episode run of some of the greatest shows in TV history?
That's right, Dan. Good to be back. Good to be
Yes.
talking to you again. Welcome to the show, and very excited to be back because we are kicking off a brand new streak.
Yes.
If it's your first time listening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you have a look in the feed, you will see that we recently completed our Breaking Bad streak. So you can check that out.
Yes, we covered the peak streak of Breaking Bad.
That's right. What was it, Dan? In the
It was, as you no doubt recall, it was the last 3 episodes, the final 3 episodes. We broke them down in great depth. I think we accidentally started an IMDb review war.
Yes.
And then you also introduced me to the wonderful shot-for-shot Colombian remake. So that was a delight as well. Lots of good stuff in there.
Yes. How is your viewing of Metastasis going,
I'm
Dan?
just up to the bit where the tortoise explodes. So good
That's
stuff.
right. What a great call. I can't believe I haven't looked that scene up yet. Yet, but I'm definitely gonna dig that out. Before we move on to our new streak, which I'm super excited to talk about, just got to close that Breaking Bad book for
Yeah, you had
once
some
and for
homework,
all.
right?
I did. I had some homework because I'd never seen El Camino.
Mm,
I think I just in my head I had this idea that it was this that it was obviously the story of Jesse, but that it took, I don't know, like place really far in the future. So I guess spoiler alerts for El Camino.
yeah.
Um,
Which is what, 10 years old now? Must be at least 10 years old.
yeah. Uh, just like you, Dan, and everyone else. I thought it was good.
Yep.
7.5.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I honestly, in my head, I thought that I don't know why, but I assumed it was like, oh, it's Jesse. He in the first 10 minutes, he bursts through the fence in the El Camino, and then we just sort of flash forward 5 years, and
Yep.
he's living in Alaska, and he's a lumberjack, and maybe Todd never died and is
Yeah.
coming to hunt him down or something, and he's got a
Yep.
new girlfriend. I don't know why that I was convinced that was what it was about. I didn't know it was just another episode of Breaking Bad, very
Yeah.
much shot and set in the world that we already knew. I couldn't believe it. I was like, when's he leaving? He's he's
Yeah.
not leaving. And I tell you what, Skinny Pete, that is a friend for life.
Mm.
That man, he if you haven't got a Skinny Pete in your life, get one now. The best thing I enjoyed about it though was the news reports, because when you're watching Breaking Bad, it's almost like you're standing in between Jesse and Walt.
Mm.
It's so intense, and you're so in the middle of it all that even when Gus Fring dies, you don't see a single news report about the man that got blown up by the guy
Yeah.
in a wheelchair. But then all through El Camino, you've got news reports and things about the high school teacher turned meth drug lord, who blew up a bunch of Nazis, and you're like,
Yep.
oh, good, that's interesting
They've covered that.
perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thumbs up to El Camino. Ready
Are you going
to.
to watch the Colombian remake of El Camino?
I don't know if they ever got around to that one, but I
Disappointing.
am keeping an eye out for the Korean Breaking Bad. I
Yep.
believe that's still in pre-production. But that's it. I think we can put Breaking Bad in the rear view. It's time to move on. Dan, we've got a brand new streak to kick off today, and well, I guess in honor of one, arsehole genius, from Walter Blanco himself, to another, maybe two arsehole
Maybe two.
geniuses.
I've got some thoughts on at least one of them, so
Yeah,
we'll
because
get to that.
I'd mentioned Chevy Chase in our Breaking Bad episodes, because Community kept popping on the telly while Breaking Bad was on, and that new documentary that's out. And so that led us on to Community, and also we talked about the creator Dan Harmon himself. That wasn't exactly a smooth ride, and plus, I think we all really liked Community.
Yeah.
Dan, you were a big Community fan.
I'm a massive fan of Community. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite sitcoms. Like, I think Arrested Development has always been
Mm.
for a long time. It's been top of the pops, but Community is right up there. It's I can't really remember the first time I watched Community. if you cast your mind back, and you may not remember this, in our very first episode where we talked about Lost, I talked about this
Hmm.
online friend of mine who sent me a video cassette of the
Yep.
pilot before it actually came out. And this same online friend also said, you should watch Community. You'll enjoy Community.
Hmm.
And said, in particular, you'll enjoy this new episode that just came out called Remedial Chaos Theory from season 3. Watch that. You'll love it. It'll be brilliant. And so I thought, okay,
Wow.
I'll check that out. I sat down and I
Okay.
watched it and I was like, okay, I can see that's not like most sitcoms I watched, but I didn't really know all the characters. So, and in case you've forgotten, that's the one where the multiple timelines and every time they toss the die, a different timeline takes place. And one
Yeah.
of them ends with Troy going out and getting the pizzas and coming back in. And, the room's on chaos, the famous meme of him just looking very
Yes.
startled and surprised. So I watched that and I thought, yeah, okay, that's very clever. Don't really know the characters, so I don't think I fully appreciate this, but it's good. Anyway, that inspired me more or less to go get the DVDs and all right, let's work out what this is all about. And I did. I went through, I think, the first 3 seasons on DVD,
Hmm.
and then I started picking up the fourth, fifth, and sixth seasons by various means as they came out in the
Sure.
US. And just as kind of a fun extra story, I then did a rewatch a little while later when I first met my partner, Kat.
Hmm.
We lived in different states. So I was in Sydney and she was in Melbourne. And what we would do, I introduced her to Community and we would text one another and then watch episodes together. So we would basically get message to
Oh.
say, all right, we're about to watch season 1, episode 6, go. And then we watch it. And then like 23 minutes later, we come back and we discuss it. And then we go, all right, you want to watch another one? Yep. And then we
Yep.
text and then we go, all right, you ready? Go. And so we basically watched all the way through season 5, I think. We skipped season 4. And
Okay.
then I moved to Melbourne and we watched season 6 as it came out.
Got you.
So that's
Got
got
you.
that rewatch has a fond place in my heart.
So geez, that must have been the days when Wi-Fi was still really expensive. So you couldn't just sit on a FaceTime call and
Oh
and,
yeah, no,
and watch it together.
I don't think we have FaceTime. No, no.
No. And so Remedial Chaos Theory is the first episode that you ever saw of
Yes.
Community.
Yep.
That's kind of insane.
It is very insane. Yeah. Yep.
That's fascinating. Maybe I'll get to my story a little bit later on
Okay.
because the timeline is all over the place for this show. We're in such a bizarre era of TV, and so I was well on top of the show from pretty early
Oh,
on.
really? Okay.
But of course, by using means, if it wasn't easy to watch on the television, so
Yes.
it became a regular yeah, it became a bit of a regular download
Mm.
for me and some friends. Well, so Dan, that's you've highlighted some amazing. You've got Remedial Chaos Theory. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I was thinking you've got Advanced Dungeons and Dragons from
Yes.
season 2. You've got Critical Film Studies. There's the paintball episodes.
Yeah.
We need to work out what the best 3 episode run of this
The
show
best
is.
3 episode run. Yeah.
Where was the peak? How are we going to do this, Dan?
Well, I'm going to run my machine. So, as we've discussed previously, I've got the data, all the data, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes,
Yep.
Metacritic, AV
Yep.
Club, library DVD borrowing records, Broadcasting Standards Authority complaints, illegal download stats. I've got them all. I chuck them all into a big spreadsheet. And
Last week I mentioned the reviews from Maximum Playboy. Are
yep,
those in there
they're in
now?
there. Yeah, they're all
It's
in there.
good.
I get all the data and
Yes.
just chuck them in the spreadsheet and weights them all together using a proprietary formula. And
Yep.
then
Okay.
out comes the answer.
I like to picture you as John Locke down in the well, turning the donkey wheel.
Yeah.
As we wait
Yeah,
the
it's
answer.
very physical. It's not a normal spreadsheet. You gotta when you press the recalculate button, you've got to go down there and really put on the jacket and push hard.
All right, Dan. I can't wait any longer. This has got to. I'm fascinated to learn when was the true peak of Community?
Well, according to this algorithm, and I triple check this, according to the numbers that were crunched, the
Mm.
peak of Community is season 5,
5?
episodes 3, 4, and 5. That's basic intergluteal numismatics, cooperative polygraphy, and geothermal escapism, which I think is an incredibly surprising outcome.
That is crazy. I would have 100%. I would have thought season 2, season 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, There's issues around season 4. The creator of the show leaves. Season 5 and 6, I don't even sort of really think back to. I don't think I've ever done any sort of
No.
rewatches or anything.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So have the people got it wrong?
Well, I don't know. I think part of this discussion is going to be what is going on in these seasons, why this 3 episode run is so good, and why it just trumps. Like there are a few that aren't that far behind it, but this was definitely the top. It does occur to me that with our rebranding of seasons, so Lost to season 1, Watchmen to season 2, Breaking Bad to season 3, this is the 4th season of Peak Streaks. We need to be very careful we're not in a gas leak season here. So,
Oh no. Well, Dan, so I was thinking like we've probably there's a couple of roads we can go down here, right? So okay, so we find ourselves having to talk about season 5. There's a lot of stuff that comes right before that.
Yep.
I was looking forward to maybe digging into a bit of Chevy Chase stuff, but I feel like maybe to set the scene and really understand what the heck is going on in these season 5 episodes and how they managed to kind of top the streak. Maybe we need to work out everything that came before it.
Yep. All right. I'll give you a brief summary of the story so far in Community, the first 4 seasons. Obviously. All right. Jeff, a fast-talking disbarred lawyer, enrolls at Greendale Community College to get a cheap degree and accidentally becomes the reluctant centre of a misfit study group, including Britta, a performatively progressive buzzkill, Arbid, a human pop culture database, Annie, a wide-eyed neurotic overachiever, Troy, a lovable overgrown man-child, Shirley, a passive-aggressive church mum, and Pierce, an obliviously offensive millionaire. Over 4 years, the group survived paintball wars, Dungeons & Dragons adventures, pillow fort civilizations, and at least one alternate timeline before scattering after graduation, only to quietly return as their post-Greendale lives fail to pan out. So that's everything that's happened so far.
That's great. Well, and I guess spoiler warning for Community, but also a strong endorsement that if you haven't seen it, catch up, watch it.
You're crazy if you don't watch it.
Yes. And so, yeah, Dan, you mentioned that, oh, geez, a lot's happened. But we've teased the idea that season 4, I guess, is what you said gas leak before. I've heard the term before. What are the origins? Do you know why they refer to it as the gas
leak season? So there is a reference in very early in season 5, might be the first episode of season 5. So season 4, maybe I should give the full story of
all right.
Of the creation of Community, and we'll get to season 4 and season 5 and why season 4 is known as the gas leak season.
All right.
That's in that process.
Let's go back.
All right. So we do start with Dan Harmon, who is the creator of Community. He basically tried to make his way in Hollywood with his writing partner, whose name is Rob Schrob. And they had a 1999 TV pilot called Heat Vision and Jack. Have you heard of Heat Vision and Jack?
Oh my goodness. I have, but I never connected the dots before, but I love the concept. Talk us through it, Dan.
So Heat Vision and Jack was directed by Ben Stiller. It starred Jack Black as an astronaut who becomes the world's smartest man in sunlight, and Owen Wilson voiced his best friend who had been fused with a motorcycle. So it's this kind of crazy concept. They pitched it to Fox. Fox passed, and it's kind of now this cult classic that you can find on YouTube, but it's kind of famous as this kind of lost TV show that could have been but never was.
A bit of a modern day riff on Knight Rider, the talking motorbike, and
So Harmon and Schrob kind of continued to work their way through. They started doing short film screenings in their apartment. That's where Harmon first worked with a young animator named Justin Roiland. We might discuss their relationship in a future season, perhaps.
Yeah,
but perhaps more importantly, in the early 2000s, in his early 30s, Harmon enrolled at Glendale Community College. He took Spanish with his girlfriend. Stop me if any of this sounds familiar. And some strangers cornered him during a smoke break and asked him to join their study group, which he did. He said in this interview where this was, he revealed all this, he was a bit standoffish, but he joined, and by the middle of kind of the semester, he was hit by a startling realization that he genuinely cared whether these people passed their tests. And that basically became the show.
This is fascinating, Dan, because I have a friend who to this day still refuses to watch the show. And when it was in its prime, and I said, why will you not watch this show? He's like, I watched one episode. I could tell that the Jeff character was just the creator trying to put himself on TV, and I can't stand the sort of the hubris and the ego of it all, and so I just can't watch it. And I went, oh,
Wow.
come on, man. And you've just laid it all out there.
There you go. Anyway, so it's probably worth mentioning at this point that by the time, so he basically created a community, managed to get it to air. He did already have a bit of a track record at this stage. So he'd been fired from the Sarah Silverman program in 2007,
Oh,
which was
that's
a
right.
show he'd co-created. He was
Yeah.
fired before they even started filming because
Okay.
Silverman said, look, you're getting too obsessive, too volatile, too convinced you're the only one who could get everything right.
Yep.
And he basically said, yeah, that's true. um, so anyway, he got community. He was in charge of community, so he was happy there. He ran it his way. He built every episode around what he called his story circle, which is kind of this now famous way of writing sitcom episodes or any kind of story, really. But the show was, had a lot of behind the scenes stuff that grew increasingly volatile. He ran over budget a lot. The execs, he wasn't particularly popular with the executives, and as we mentioned, the relationship with Chevy Chase deteriorated rapidly. Although it did last until season 3. So
Yeah.
apparently, the breaking point of the relationship between Chase and Harmon came during the filming of Digital Estate Planning. So if you remember, that's the video game episode from season 3, where the characters all become part of a video game.
Yep.
Something to do with Pierce's will from his father or something.
Yeah.
And that was the last episode that was filmed that season because had all this complicated video game stuff in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't the last
Animation
episode of
and
the season, but it was the last one filmed.
yep.
And there was a scripted end tag, which one of the other writers had come up with, and it said apparently in it, Abed gave Pierce kind of a modified version of this computer game, and all it did was where if you press the space bar, Pierce's avatar would throw a baseball to his dad's floating head and hear the words "Great job, son," and kind of that was kind of this touching ending.
Mm,
Pierce, presses it a few times and hugs Abed, and that Harmon said, "Yeah, that's a beautiful ending. Let's do that."
mm.
Unfortunately, Chevy Chase said he was too tired to film that, so
Okay.
he just left. And and apparently he used to do that all the time. He was old. He got tired. He said, I'm out of
Yeah.
here for the day." But this was the last thing they shot, and by the time he was due to come back, the sets had already come down. Like they just couldn't shoot it. So Harmon basically said he couldn't forgive this. It was unforgivable, basically, that he ruined this thing. So
Mm.
they had the end of season wrap party. And this is where Harmon got up and basically delivered this kind of foul-mouthed rant aimed directly at Chevy Chase,
Oh
which
goodness.
culminated in leading the crowd in a chant of "Fuck you, Chevy."
Oh
Uh,
jeez.
so Chase left with his kind of wife and daughter and called Harmon's phone and left a furious voicemail, which under ordinary circumstances might be the end of it, but
It's
no.
it's very hard to imagine the cast of the show all standing around and chanting. I wonder if it was maybe just some production and a few
I'm
best
not
boys or a
sure.
few
Yeah,
key
I would,
grips.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Harmon took the voicemail that Chase left on his phone. He, of course, then played it to a live audience at his monthly comedy podcast, Harmontown.
Of course he
And
did.
that went viral, it went public, it blew up. And shortly after, Harmon got a text from his agent saying, "Yeah, you've been fired." So he's been fired from his own show in season
Hmm.
4.
Yep.
But season 4 was like they still went on. They still had a contract to make this show. So they made season 4, and it is widely regarded as the weakest season by far without Harmon
Mm.
there. It was got pretty bad ratings, and eventually Joel McHale, I think, and the rest of the cast said, "No, we can't keep doing this. If we're going to do season 5, we've got to get Harmon back." So he came back, and pretty much from the first episode, it's just like, wow, that was a weird gas leak last year. It caused us to think all kinds of crazy things happened. So basically, that's the gas leak season.
There you go. So I mean that's crazy because what are we 2009, 10, 11 that the idea of bringing the creator back because they
Mm,
want to keep the show going seems so insane by today's standards where they would just go, let's just cancel it. Like
mm.
we'll just stop it
Yeah.
and move on to the next piece of content. Who else has got an idea? We'll shoot it. We'll throw it on a streaming app.
Yeah.
Whatever. It seems wild that One, that the show would get picked up, make it all the way through a whole season, and then come back for more. And they go, well, we still want to keep doing the show.
Yeah.
All right, all's forgiven. Let's bring back the creator so that we can do more of them. Even
Yeah.
though the show felt like it was never destined for like a 10 season run
No.
or anything
I
like
mean,
that, right?
famously, the goal was always 6 seasons in a movie.
60,
And even that
yes.
was kind of an in joke as they just came, out of a joke within a storyline in the show.
Yeah. That's yeah, so Dan Harmon obviously somewhat problematic, I guess. The Chevy Chase stuff fascinates me, and maybe we'll dig into that next week because I think there's a good opportunity to sort of dig into the more Chevy things. But in my brain, he's this huge comedy star of the 80s. He's on the front cover of every VHS movie in the video store.
Yep.
Then he does nothing for 20 years and
Yeah.
then he appears in a sitcom.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder what that's like. Like, is he enjoying it? Is he not? And then no, it turns out that he's a massive grumpy asshole. But it sounds like that's two grumpy assholes were just destined for
Yeah.
a breakup of some
And
kind.
the kind of the maddening thing is that you watch those first few seasons of Community with, especially the season 1 and season 2, like Chevy Chase is brilliant. Like Pierce
Yeah,
is
he's
such
great.
a
He
great
slips
character. He's so good. He's
straight
so
in.
funny.
Yes. Yeah. And he, like, I think he's known for his physicality.
Mm.
That's what he was known for on SNL.
Yeah.
And he brings that to the role.
Yeah.
Plus, he seems to get it. He
Yeah.
gets the
Yeah.
character.
But apparently he didn't. Like, apparently he thought none of it made sense. Like, he didn't think it was funny enough. It's just like, oh, mate,
yeah.
you're making this funny. And
Yeah.
I know you're the butt of the joke sometimes, but it's so good.
But instead we find ourselves in season 5 where Jonathan Banks has joined. He's the new Pierce.
Yeah. Yes. So that's a great link from Breaking Bad to Community.
I know. And I trust your algorithm, Dan, that it somehow linked us from Breaking Bad to Community unintentionally. I find this whole era of TV fascinating because it feels like the last hurrah of commercial TV, of network TV, being sort of like the king of TV,
being relevant,
yeah. Saying we put out the good content, we control, what the stars are doing and what will put money behind and what gets to stay on air and what doesn't. I thought it would be interesting to go back to, so when Community's on the air from 2009.
Yeah.
And I thought this is a good excuse to talk about like pilot season, television upfronts, they call them, where they show off all the new content that's coming and they shoot a bunch of pilots and some of them get chosen and some of them don't. And I was looking back at 2009. What were the 2009 pilots?
Okay.
That got picked up, right?
Yep.
Because this is what led me to this feeling. So 2009, Modern Family gets picked up, the pilot, Cougar Town.
I think
Parenthood.
Cougar Town was one of the things that Arbed was obsessed with at one point in the early couple of seasons. So yeah,
that's right. And Parenthood, Flash Forward, which was I think we've talked about that.
Bit of a Lost connection.
Yes, Dominic Monaghan's sitting at home, got nothing to do. They said, "You want to come and do another Lost show?"
Which doesn't make much sense. Yep.
Yeah. Glee, The Good Wife.
Glee, bloody hell.
A remake of V. I loved.
I remember that had Juliet in it.
Yes, that's right. I loved the original V, and Vampire Diaries. So this is all in 2009, and it feels like the last of like the big network stuff that'll ever kind of be launched, and have like a 5 or 6 year run or whatever it might be. Even The Good Wife runs for about 6 years, but then the spin-offs switch over to the streaming and the other sort of small.
I quite like The Good Wife. That was one of the ones I kind of stumbled into. As I was like, what is this show? And then it kind of hooked me for a while there. I haven't watched all of it by any stretch, but I watched it for a while.
So there were also a bunch of pilots that didn't get picked up. So Dan, I have a quick game for you.
Okay.
Which of these failed pilots are real, and which of these failed pilots are not real? So here we go. I'm going to give you the first one. So 2009 pilot season. Show's called Legally Mad. It's about the eccentric personalities that work in a modern day law firm. Legally Mad.
That sounds real. I can believe Legally Mad exists.
Absolutely. That was a real show that was never picked up. Protect and Swerve. An LAPD cop infiltrates the underground world of street racing.
I'm going to say that's also true.
That is not true. I made that one up. Protect
Okay.
and Swerve is completely made up.
Oh.
Lost and Found. An LAPD cop is reassigned to the missing persons unit. Lost and Found.
Oh God, they all sound true to me. That one sounds true as well.
They all sound so on the nose, but yeah, that one is true. That was a real pilot
Yep.
that never made the light of day. They love their just keep pumping out police procedurals. Off Duty, a comedy about the lives of LAPD cops when they're not on duty.
I've said everything's real so far, so I better say that one's not.
This one was real. This was actually written by Jason Mantzoukas, if you follow it, and featured Ken Jeong. So,
there you go.
Yep, what could have been if Off Duty was picked up. This next one, Washington Field, an elite FBI team that travel the globe responding to events of national interest.
Oh, that one. Then that one's not true.
No,
they can't all be true.
Yeah, that one's true. So it's just all police and FBI stuff. State of Romance, a modern day telling of Pride and Prejudice set in Chicago.
Yeah, let's say that's true.
Yeah, that one was definitely true. Didn't get picked up. That was a real one. Suspense and Sensibility.
That's not true.
Two New York police officers navigate their personal relationship both on and off the job. Yeah, I've made that one up. I had tried to get you with everyone with that one. All right, last one, Dan. Happiness Isn't Everything. This one stars Jason Biggs as Jason Hamburger, a man trying to break up with his girlfriend while dealing with his neurotic family.
Jason Hamburger.
Yeah.
The hamburger is the only thing that sounds fake about it. Everything else I could believe. I'm going to say it's fake. You can't call it character Hamburger.
No, it's real. It must have been tingling something in the back of your head, because this was Horowitz's follow-up to Arrested Development.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it had Richard Dreyfuss and Ben Schwartz, and Jason Biggs was the lead. And apparently, it was sort of it was received okay, but sort of fell a little bit flat. So it was never picked up.
Wow!
But it did feel like a bit of a rehash of Arrested Development.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of bonus ones.
Okay.
The game's kind of, I think the game's run its course now. But it is the IT Crowd, the US version.
Yep.
2006, featuring Joel McHale in the title role with Richard Ayoade. So obviously that never got picked up, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another one in 2008 called Giants of Radio, right? Which focuses on the dysfunctional syndicated radio environment, starring Joel McHale and Danny Pudi.
Oh, really?
So again, two big cracks for Joel McHale and some of the surrounding cast of Community. These pilots would never be picked up. So then they go straight into shooting the Community pilot.
Yep.
And then we're off and running. So
wow,
we almost didn't have this cast kind of coming together. And I think they're such a key part of the show.
Well, I think one of the things, going back to what your friend was saying about Jeff being the proxy for Dan Harmon himself, I think Harmon has said that, you know, he's more a combination. Like he would like to be Jeff, but he's worried that he's Abed. So it's more a combination of those two, I think, that split the Harmon personality in two.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, Dan, I'm keen to kind of rip into the first episode in the streak.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the season 5 and the 3 episodes.
Yeah. I have a bit of a theory, because I've been thinking about this since the numbers came out. So can I run my theory past you?
Please, I'd love to hear it.
So I think when Harmon returns for season 5, I think he basically does kind of like a greatest hits rehash of the best episodes from season 1, 2, and 3. Like the first episode of season 5 is literally called Repilot. He basically says, let's do this again. Let's just take the best episodes. Let's do an updated version of them all. And kind of the analogy that's come to my mind is that, like, most of the seasons 1 through 3, they're like usual 22, 24 length seasons of TV. And they pretty much always break in the middle. Like that's the end of the first semester is, you know, episode 12 or 13 or whatever. And then the second half is the second semester of that particular year. So the first 3 seasons map to the first 3 years of them in community college. And I'm kind of thinking of each of those half seasons as being like an album from a band where you get the occasional really great song, and then you got a little bit of filler here and there where, you know, filler in relative terms. It's still Community. It's still very good, but it's not as great as the absolute peaks. And then I think if this season 5 is like a greatest hits, that's why you get suddenly, all right, there's these three bangers in a row, just like bang, bang, bang. These are all really good. Whereas in the earlier seasons, you'd have like these great songs or great episodes just kind of scattered at random. It's very hard to get three of them in a row. So that's what kind of my how I'm thinking about it. That's why we kind of consolidate in this season 5 area, I think.
It's interesting. It does make sense because I went back and had a bit of a look, and you go, oh yeah, Remedial Chaos Theory or
Mm,
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and you look at the episodes either side of them,
yeah,
and they're a seven. They're a seven. They're an eight. They're
yeah,
not nines.
yeah.
And I guess if you were to look at pure banger after banger,
Mm,
and then you looked at these, basic intergluteal numismatics and cooperative polygraphy and geothermal escapism 3, 4, and 5. They're three fantastic episodes in a row.
yeah,
But like you're saying, I think they've been inspired by, or
yeah.
they're riffing on episodes that have come before
Well,
them
the
as
one we're
well.
about to cover today, the basic intergluteal numismatics, that's basically just an updated version of basic lupine neurology, which is the from season 3. That's the Law and Order parody, and it's just
Yeah.
very like it's so many beats are the same as that particular episode, and it also draws. There's another episode in season 1 called the Science of Illusion where you've got I think it's Shirley and Annie being like
Yes.
cops, they're buddy cops, and they're wandering around, and Arbid's in the background just commenting on all the tropes. So they all kind of build on this kind of same structure.
Yeah, they're a perfect analogy for the show overall because that season 1 episode
Mm,
there, you've got your Arbed pointing out to the audience, "Oh, hey, this is just like a buddy
yeah,
cop. I'll pretend to be the hard ass boss for a
yeah,
while," and so you kind of go, "Oh, look at them poking fun at that trope." Then in season 3, that's the episode where someone has tampered with the science projects, the sweet
yeah.
potato science
Yeah,
projects.
sweet potato or the yam. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a light Law and Order episode. You get a little bit of music,
yeah,
and Troy and Arbed, have fun playing those roles. Season 5, it is. There's no. It's just full parody
yeah. It's a David
from
Fincher
the.
movie. It's
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I've written down. It's a total David Fincher documentary, and almost inspired by like the sort of Netflix
mm,
obsession with true crime,
yeah,
and it's a fantastic episode. I was shocked when I went back and watched it. I was like, this is great. But should we set the scene? I guess before
yeah, yeah, yeah.
before we really
Let's set
dive
the
into it.
scene properly. Let's get into this episode.
All right, let's get into it. So we are here to talk about basic intergluteal numismatics, which is from season 5. It's episode 3. The IMDb description is: the college is imbued with panic when an unidentified person returns to dropping coins down people's butts, and Annie takes it upon herself to find out who is behind it all. Dan, I challenge you. I'd love to hear one of your summaries,
Yep.
but I'd love to know what you can do with something that's already kind of as
Yeah,
lighthearted as that.
this is a challenge, but let's give it a crack. All right, let's go. Greendale is thrown into crisis when a serial criminal known only as the Ass Crack Bandit returns to campus, dropping coins into the exposed posteriors of students and faculty and vanishing without a trace. Jeff and Annie, shot in washed-out David Fincher blue-grey and perpetual rain, take the investigation into their own flirty hands, interrogating suspects such as Professor Duncan, Starburns, and, inexplicably, Ben Folds, before the episode ends with the sitcom-subverting twist of Troy announcing that Pierce is dead.
Great work, Dan. I did rewatch the episode recently, and I could not be bothered looking up who that person was in the greenhouse.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to look that up. And yeah, so of course
It's Ben Folds.
it's
But
Ben
but he
Folds.
also does like the song for the episode. Like there's a song at the end of the episode which is a Ben Folds song as well.
Yes.
So yeah, they really lend into some weird stuff.
That's it. It's by season 5, they're full weird, like they know what they are, and it's
Yep.
kind of insane to see it on commercial TV.
Yeah.
So this episode was written by Eric Summers. Now he only wrote one episode of Community, this one.
Mhm.
But so as a writer, like he goes all the way back to about 2002, riding on Crank Yankers. Did you watch Crank Yankers, Dan?
I missed Crank Yankers,
Chris, are
sadly.
you familiar with the concept?
Don't know what Crank Yankers is. I'm
It's
not sure
it's
I want to know.
basically a bunch of comedians prank calling people. This is
Okay.
back when you just so they would put on a voice, they'd put on a character, they'd
Yeah.
call people and just
Hilarity ensues.
yeah, hilarity ensues. But what they would do is you would hear the recording of the prank call via puppets. So they would play out
Okay. Yeah.
the character that was being played and then their assumption of whatever the person on the phone looked like.
Yeah.
And they were that sort of Avenue Q style
Yeah.
puppets. It goes from Crank Yankers to Drawn Together. Did you ever watch Drawn Together,
I know
Dan?
I've Drawn Together. I don't think I ever watched it, but I know of it.
I quite
can't
liked
remember
it.
where I heard about it from.
Yeah, it's all of the animated tropes, a different character from all these different versions of animation
Yeah.
from over the decades, all
And
living
it's
in
like a
house
real.
together.
It's like a Big Brother show or something. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's the conceit until
Yeah.
they decide to just make fun of
Yeah.
whatever. Then eventually he lands at American Dad for 5 years. And then he becomes a showrunner.
Mhm.
And then he joins Community, kind of supporting in season 1, 2, and 3. He's not there for 4, and then he comes back as a co-showrunner for season 5.
Right.
So when Dan Harmon comes back, there's he brings Eric Summer back with him, makes him a co-showrunner, and then they bring another 3 other writers from American Dad.
Okay.
I'm not a big American Dad watcher.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
But apparently there's a really strong fan base because I think there's a misconception that it's just another Family Guy.
Yeah.
Whereas the episodes tend to have a little bit more character focus, a little bit more heart.
Mhm.
And a lot of people do compare it to Community in terms of storyline stuff. So in then they've got 5 writers who worked on American Dad who were there for season 5 and 6 to kind of, bring it all home. So that's Eric Summer. The director of the episode was Tristram Shapiro, whose name was really, really bugging me because I'm like, why do I know this name? Are you familiar with him as a director?
Don't know Tristram Shapiro.
So he did direct 24 episodes of Community. So he's probably, along with seeing like the Russos, names appearing a lot. But he goes all the way back to 2002, but he's all the way over in England. He's doing I'm Alan Partridge.
Oh yeah, okay.
Are you an Alan Partridge guy?
I am a big Alan Partridge fan.
That is a fandom that I'm not familiar with, but I respect. French and Saunders, Ab Fab. He's swimming around in these sorts of things, and then he does 12 episodes of Peep Show, which I think is like another big.
I love Peep Show
favorite
as well. I didn't rewatch Peep Show, but I watched it the first time through and just like that is something. That's a full on. It's very funny.
Potential.
Whoa, okay, let's go.
Potential for a streak, maybe.
Yeah.
And then he does Veep, Workaholics.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, something I'd love to look at one day. The Good Place, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So he's a veteran hand at sort of more modern day sitcom. So he directed this episode. It went to air January 9th, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking Bad would wrap up about only 3 months before this.
Okay.
So we're in sort of similar territory. Now, Dan, would you like to have a guess at when this episode aired in Australia? So January 9, 2014 is when we go to the air in the US. When did it make its commercial television debut in Australia?
Let's say March 3, 2014.
3rd of March, 2014. Okay. Yeah. The answer is the 4th of July, 2016.
I'll tell you when it aired on my TV screen. January 9th, 2014.
Yes. Just a fascinating era of TV. So Community debuted 2009, 17th of September, 2009. In Australia, it debuted 23rd of March, 2010.
Right.
So that's a pretty big gap, but it sort of follows the rhythms of TV season.
Yes.
This episode airs and premieres at 11:45 p.m.
11:45. Okay.
Right. So we're in the dead of night. Is when this episode airs. So if I do have a ratings report, if you'd like to kind of go back to.
Yeah, so this is the rating report for 2016, July the 4th.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's right. For the 4th of July, 2016, Channel 9 has buried Community to 11:45 p.m. 72,000 people are watching.
I'm impressed there was that many.
Yeah, no, it's still not a bad number. Over on Go, It's a show called the NRL Rookie. Now, Dan, I'm going to be looking to you
Oh
as our
God.
resident NRL fan. Do you remember this show?
I think I don't know this for sure, but I assume it's basically one of those shows. It's like a game show where they say, "Here's 40 kids who want to become a rugby league player in the NRL, and we're going to whittle them down. You can't run.
Yep.
You've got too many brain cells. Out you go. Yeah, your neck is not solid enough. You're out." And
Yep.
eventually whittle them down to one bullfed who gets to run around for let's say the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
That is spot on, Dan. It was a reality show where the winner would get drafted to an NRL club. They would not say the name of that club until it had ended. But like you said, they had to whittle down the players until
Yeah.
they had someone worthy of. So weekly challenges included. And I'd like, again, you're the resident NRL guy here, so I want you to translate these from these challenges into how this helps on the field. So
Yep.
1 week they went kayaking.
Yeah, that's in case you're in a scrum and the
Yeah,
the ground floods.
that's right.
Yep.
Paddle in hand. Another week they would enter a burning building and rescue dummies and mannequins.
I mean that's common sense.
Yep.
No further
And
elaboration needed.
yep. And then lastly, shepherding a flock of sheep into a pen.
Well, if you
So,
shepherd in rugby league, you actually get penalised. You're not supposed to be shepherding in rugby
well, there
league.
you
So
go.
so presumably
That's
the ones who failed that test were the ones who went through.
well, not no. That's probably why the winner, Lou Goodwin, played exactly zero games, zero professional games of
Oh, poor Goodwin.
NRL. I think he was drafted to Canberra from
Oh, there you go.
memory and became a kind of a footnote in a trivia question.
Yeah.
So yeah, he no never really made it in the end. Over on Seven, 112,000 people are watching Car Crash TV. Remember, Dan, it's 11:45 at night time.
Yep.
We are in the depths of nothing on the television. Do you know what Car Crash TV was?
No, I wasn't sure whether that was actually the title of the show or a description of the show, but you're telling me it's the title.
It's the title of the show. Think about where we're at. We've got season 5 of Community. We've got great content. Channel 9 don't know what to do with it because the state of TV right now is to just run a TV show that's just simply dash cam footage of cars crashing. That's all it is.
See, YouTube hasn't reached its peak yet, has it?
Yeah. Yep. It's this bizarre moment in time where we're like,
Yep.
well, why don't we just take YouTube content and put it on
Yep.
the telly? Do you want to do a streak for Car Crash TV?
Yeah.
Should we do the
Yep.
streak?
Yeah, that's our next season.
Yeah. Over on 7-2, it's Wimbledon, day 7. It's the
Yep.
4th round. Andy Murray thoroughly defeats Nick Kyrgios, which is a shame. He's out in straight sets. Over on 7, mate, we're talking footy. Of course, over on Channel 10, 94,000 people are watching an encore of the project. Baffling. And then on SBS, it's July. What are we watching on SBS, Dan? If it's not the soccer, it's got to be.
Must be the Tour de France.
It is the Tour de France. It is stage 3 of the Tour de France. And I always do this whenever the Tour de France comes up. I look up who the winner is. In this case, it was Chris Froome.
Mm-hmm.
And I Google Chris
Check
Froome
how many drugs
scandal.
he took.
Yep. And there it is. He definitely had some controversies. So he won the race 4 times.
Mm.
And I was like, this got to be some good stuff here. So here's a quick summary. So I Googled, did Chris Froome have any controversies? And here's the answer I got. Prepare yourself, right? Because you just think this is about drugs.
Yep.
Leaked documents from Russian hackers in 2016 showed that Froome had used TUEs for basically he'd been using prednisolone in 2013 and 2014. While these were approved by authorities, they led to accusations that he and Team Sky were exploiting rules meant for medical emergencies to gain performance advantages. So somehow the Russians are now involved in cheating in the Tour de France. Never changed Tour de France. Never changed.
Excellent stuff.
So yeah, that's well, look, we're in 2016, but we're also in 2014.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, ready to talk about basic intergluteal numismatics. Dan,
Yes.
what did you think of this episode?
I don't actually love this episode. I think it's more clever than it is funny. Like I watch it and I go, yeah, that's really smart. I could see how lovingly precise all the parody is. I can get the Fincher illusions, and it's all incredibly clever. And I must admit, I did laugh a few times. So I didn't hate it. I more admired it than I loved it because I did go back and watch the Law and Order parody, Basic Lupine Neurology,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. That's genuinely one of the best episodes the show ever did. And I've seen the Law and Order parody a zillion times, and I'm still laughing a lot at that one. So yeah, I love the community parodies when they work. Like they're some of the best episodes. I at their best they kind of dance along this kind of remix of a piece of pop culture and but still maintain kind of an internal reality that makes sense within Greendale. And
Yeah.
yeah, something about this one didn't quite work for me. I'm not quite sure why. What about you?
I I really loved it. I think Dan, this is your fault. So you really sold me in on this idea of Dan Harmon coming back,
Yeah,
greatest hits, that he's taken all the best stuff from what came before to try and just nail the concept. And I was watching this, and I love the commitment. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
why not? Like, just go all in.
yep,
So yeah, Science of Illusion is kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a foot in the door
mm,
for parody. And then yeah, you get to Basic Lupine. It's a fun reveal that Starburns is
yeah.
the
A meth
villain.
dealer.
Yes, yes, that's right. That he's a meth dealer. And is it true he dies in that episode, or
Yeah,
it's a footnote that
yep,
he dies in a meth lab explosion?
yes.
And is that the last we see of
That's the
him as
last
a
we see of
character?
him till this episode.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
it's bonkers. And I think I'm just a sucker for the going all in on the David Fincher
Yeah.
esque.
Oh, it's so cool. Like it's like I said, it's incredibly
Yeah,
clever. It's so brilliantly done.
yes, and I was engrossed because I guess we should also talk about the Ass Crack Bandit. Like, they talk about the return of the Ass Crack Bandit, and I was like, actually, hang on, I need to search
Yeah.
when was the first time we did Ass Crack Bandit? But there is no
No, there is no previous version. Yeah.
previous version. There's a mention of him. So in season 2, episode 17, intro to political science, I think when Annie and Jeff are running for student president,
Yeah.
she mentions that she will finally tackle the ass crack bandit.
Okay, that's great.
But I love I kind of like the fact that they leave it sort of open ended. They
Yeah.
kind of there's no, you can't do study group gets together because they've got to pass a test and something weird happens. Like, everyone's graduated.
Yeah.
Jeff's a teacher
Yeah.
now. It's just kind of weird. And so I really like how you just go, well, these characters are all really fleshed out. Let's just kind of have some fun,
Yeah.
have some fun with them.
Yeah.
And also, we should mention John Oliver, who, again, I don't know what purpose he joins the series. He's the kind of connective tissue between Jeff's old life
Mm.
as a
Yeah,
lawyer
he's there
and
right in the pilot. He's like a main character in the pilot. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know what happened because it's not like the John Oliver show,
Mm.
the last week tonight. It's not like that's, I don't think that's on
When
air.
did he do the Daily Show? He took over from Jon Stewart on the Daily Show for a while.
Yeah, that's probably what it was, because
Yeah.
he just completely disappears, and I guess this is a way to kind of bring him back and then write him off
Yeah.
for good. Do you have theories on who the Ass Crack Bandit was?
I mean, one of the great things about it is so Fincher-esque. It's like so much like the Zodiac. There is no answer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's specifically designed so you have no idea who it could be. Like I have seen online things which says it was Duncan John Oliver, and then once
hmm
he's busted, I think the theory is that Annie takes over for some reason, but I don't really
yes,
understand the
yep.
logic behind that.
No, that's it. So yeah, Duncan's the perfect fit because, as Annie mentioned, you need the shortcut through the faculty
Yeah,
to cut it down to 10 minutes, which he can accomplish all of that.
yeah,
And then the theory is that the dean catches him out,
mm,
and then that's where the deal with Starburns is made.
yeah.
And so then Annie takes over, becomes the copycat, and she's responsible for the Troy cracking.
Yeah,
And
I do love Troy, huddled
yeah,
underneath the blanket. He does a bit of a Jaws homage there as well when he comes out and slaps
yes,
whoever he slaps. So
yeah.
yeah, all very good.
He slaps Starburns,
Does he slap
and
Starburst? I couldn't remember who
yeah.
he slapped.
So Annie always wanted to crack a case, and so she finally gets to kind of crack this one. If you remember, she's the one that finds the note in the teddy bear.
Yeah,
And then the idea is that Abed has worked out that it's Annie, and then he takes over. So he's the one under the bleachers. Because if you remember, then the phone call and the writing patterns were very sort of Harbed-esque.
Yeah.
And he also kind of takes an exit from the episode. You'd think
Right.
he'd have a bigger role in enjoying the parody
Yeah.
of it all.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Britta, who is what you seeing kind of typing it up. They're just like, that's a red herring. She's too incompetent. She could never pull it off. That's just Britta being Britta,
Yeah.
and not knowing how to type properly. So that is the theory, and I quite like it. I think it works.
Yeah. That's it's as good a theory as any.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it as any, Dan. I am looking forward to digging into the Chevy Chase of it all, because as you know, this episode ends with a declaration that Pierce is dead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's a direct callback to how, you know, the Starburns death. It's fascinating how like they follow the same structure for this one as they did with the Law and Order parody as well.
Yeah, yep.
Because both end with like this sudden, which was kind of a trope in Law and Order shows. Like they'd have the main story, and then at the end there'd be a phone call or something, and it's like, oh my god, this person we found guilty has just killed themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? There was all kinds of like little tweaks at the end of episodes of Law and Order, and I feel like that they did that in the Law and Order one, and then they felt, you know, well, we better do that in this one as well. I'm not sure. I don't quite get why they pivot at the end of this one to the Pierce death. It's a strange pivot, I think.
Yeah, because he obviously leaves the show.
Yes.
He's in, I believe he's in the first episode of the 5th season, right? So
is he a hologram or something?
He's a hologram.
Yeah.
Maybe he was. We'll do some research and bring it back. All this Law and Order talk, Dan, has got me very curious about what's the best 3-episode run would be, and which version of the show. Maybe a project for another time. But yeah, like let's. So next week, next episode, season 5, episode 4, cooperative polygraphy, which is a direct callback to cooperative calligraphy.
Yes, Annie's pen's missing episode. One of the other great early episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, so season 5, episode 4, and for your bonus homework, season 2, episode 8. If you want to get that watched, I believe you can find the show on. I've been watching it on Stan. I think it's also on Netflix,
or your old DVDs, whatever.
Yes, if they're in the cupboard, get them out and enjoy yourself some Community.
But before we leave, I did go back. So as we mentioned, Harmon did have like the Harmontown podcast. And I did go back and track down the episode that aired around when this one came out, just to see if he mentioned anything about this particular episode.
Yes.
And there wasn't much in there. Like he rarely discussed the show, but he did ask the audience just prior to this episode airing. He said, "How many are here at Harmontown simply because Community is back with him as a showrunner?" And apparently he got, you know, a hand, 3 people showing their hands. He said, "Oh, well, we got 3 very honest people and 30 liars." So there you go. So 30 liars, I just thought that was a neat link to cooperative polygraphy. So there you go.
Well, good stuff. All right, Dan. Well, I think that's a fantastic place to leave it. So we'll leave it there. Look forward to talking to you all next week. And until then, Chris, cue the outro. Thank you for listening to Peak Streaks. If you have any feedback, we would love to hear from you. Disagree with the data? Reckon there was a better 3-episode run? Or just want to share your memories of Community? You can send us a note via email at peakstreakspodcast@gmail.com. We're also on the socials, both on Twitter/X, Blue Sky, and even Instagram, all at Peak Streaks. Come and join the study group. This is not the darkest timeline.